There we go. And we're live.
Whoa!
Welcome back to our living spaces. We'll give it a minute for some people to pile into the room, and then I'll do a grandiose intro and all that fun stuff. We can
That's
just,
beautiful.
yeah, we can just make a little bit of chit chat in the meantime. I think. Whoop! I gotta turn that right off. There we go.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share too.
Back to our living spaces. We'll give it a minute for some people to pile into the room, and then I'll do a grandiose intro and all that fun stuff.
Oh, I'm getting you back.
Yep. I gotta turn that.
Okay, same.
And we're good. We are good. We are good. Let's see what we got so far. We got a couple of people. Got a couple of people crawling in. I like it. I like it. Let's get it nice and busy.
Yeah, we'll see how good we'll be at. Do people usually chat on the thing, and we gotta watch the chat?
So that is a fun part for you afterwards. We're going to obviously go through a little section of mine, and then we're going to open it up to the floor. If people want to ask some questions, they absolutely can. And you will be forced to answer them. Or not. I don't. No laws here. This is the internet.
That's right. The Wild West.
Mm-hmm. And the Wild North and South and East. We are everywhere and nowhere at the same fucking time. We'll give it like I'm gonna say 2-3 minutes, and then we'll move right into it. We got a couple of bodies crawling in. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Let's see. I'm having a total boomer moment. How do I get to this chat here?
So if you've got it going, I'm assuming you've got this going on your laptop.
Yep.
Okay, so the on the right hand side, there's private chat and comments. Comments is where all of our comments are going to be popping up.
Okay, look at you. You are tied into the hip technology here.
If I wasn't, I would be terrible at my job, which I am. If that's a disclaimer, I am terrible at my job.
Hey, it's the music business. What job is a very loose loose term.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's slavery, sometimes it's love, sometimes it's everything. Yeah, we try to keep it light here on Bucketlist Music Reviews. 2 more minutes and we will get started. We got a couple of more people crawling in. We appreciate your presence. Feel free to let yourselves be known in the chat. We don't bite. We love to see participation.
We love to see your chatting.
Yeah, love to see it.
So what are you drinking there, Jason?
I am drinking a tea. I'm being a good boy and keeping myself awake because sleep eludes me at all times now.
That's good. You're suffering from quarantine insomnia, huh?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm so used to being awake at all hours of the night from doing things that now that I'm not doing things, I'm just awake at all hours of the night and with no purpose. I'm like an empty shell of a human being. It's awesome. I love
it. I can understand that. I'm doubling. I'm doing the morning coffee right now.
There you go. I believe if I'm not mistaken, it's about 6 p.m. in your
Yeah, exactly.
From sunny San Diego.
Actually, we're having some weird weather today. They said we might have a hurricane because it's like 2 different weather storms converging for the first time. News people are losing their shit.
I'm pretty sure they just call that the transition of power in the White House, but we can just call it a hurricane. That's easier to say. That is a story we are not going to get into. We do not do politics here on Bucketlist Music Reviews as best we can.
We still music, not politics, huh?
We try to keep it like lighthearted and entertainment based and not perpetuate the misery that everyone lives in.
Hey, that's fair.
All right. So with that being said, we might as well get started. For everybody here now,
poon juice.
Thank you, Jacques. I did not need that added into this.
I did need that. That's fantastic. That's
all right. Well, all of my dirty secrets have been laid out bare on the internet, and Liz just posted this into the video. Thank you, Liz. You're awesome. Dear God. All right. So, for those who don't know, my name is Jason Greenberg, and I'm a writer and content creator for Bucketlist Music Reviews. And joining me today on another edition of Q&A Tuesdays, I've got Jake Skolnick of Mannequin Vanity Records. What is up, my man?
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
I should not put you in such a box. You are not just a Mannequin Vanity Records. I am for sure going to trip on that a lot tonight.
That's okay. It's not easy to say.
MVR. I think MVR is what we should stick with. But we will get into all of the wonderful things that you do. To start out, I'll just let everybody in the chat know once again, thank you very much for coming out and giving us a watch tonight from the glory of your homes. If you're in the Montreal area, you're in curfew, and that sucks, and I'm with you. We are going to go through a little section of questions that I slaved over for everyone's entertainment and to pick the brain of Jakey here. Once I'm done with that, if anybody in the chat has questions they want to ask, we will happily field them, and we encourage you to do so. Just hang on to them to the end, because if you ask them during, I'm not going to remember because I suck.
Hey, that's Cousin Ryan. Hi, Cousin Ryan.
There you go. Cousin Ryan's in the house. Hopefully Cousin Ryan sticks to the end and asks you a very embarrassing question.
She's got all the dirt.
That's what I like to hear. So we will get it started. First and foremost, the question on everyone's mind at all times is, how are you doing? How are you, like, what is this life for you right
now? I'm fine personally. I guess same as everyone. It's not same as everyone, but trying to make the best of the situation. Obviously, the live music industry took a dump, and that was where I spent most of my time up until March of last year. My guess day gig is I work as a talent buyer for 6 venues in San Diego. I produce a couple of festivals. All of that got totally put on hold, so I've had a lot more time to focus on the label and to kind of work things from that side. I signed 3 new acts this year. I put out a bunch of new stuff. I started working with Melanie K, who is amazing. So yeah, that's like the general summary. I mean, I pivoted a lot. I did a gypsy jazz record. I did some other weird stuff that was out of my wheelhouse. I've been spending a lot of time in this garage / our recording studio, and that's been the one blessing of this whole thing, is just that I get endless time to record versus, instead of being on the road all the time and coming back for very short stints to record or whatever. So, yeah.
So that is actually a great segue into a question I was going to go into before doing even further homework. You are absolutely music through and through. It is everything you do on a daily basis, and that is very obvious for anybody that follows you on your social medias and what have you. Melanie actually just joined the chat. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, Melanie. And Carol.
We miss you so very badly. So you were, before you started MVR, you were in fact a touring musician, and I was originally going to ask, are you still making music, or do you have any plans for music? But it's very obvious you are everywhere, and that's one of the beauties of your record label. So do you feel like you're making more music now than you were before, now that you have all of these jobs in the industry? Or is there something about being specifically in a band and just doing that you maybe miss a little bit?
Shit. Recording wise, I've definitely been doing more now, but I've gone through different periods of my life where, I worked in the studio. I worked in recording studios. I used to live in New York, and that was most of what I did every day. Was I worked as a freelance recording engineer, and then I would sign bands that I was working with or that I liked. Over the years, it turned into me moving back to San Diego and getting a focus on like folk and punk and world music. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of cyclical. I love touring. I love playing in bands, but and that maybe is the reason why I started the label, because when I originally played in this band called Plastic Revolution, which was a pop punk band, and that was when I was at San Diego State, like my cousin Ryan, who's in here. And we kind of did the Southern California pop punk scene pretty hard. We did a big showcase at the end of college, and that was kind of like the time where you're starting to think about real life. and we did it up at Club Goodhurt, which is no longer there, but it was a cool little club up in Venice, like 300, 400 capacity. We sold it out. We had label execs from like all the indies, not all the indies, all the majors for sure, and then a handful of indies come out. And as we waited through like this, these potential offers, we got a couple of offers that were like, it was really cool at the time because it's like, oh, these record companies want to sign us, and then we're looking at it, it's like, well, $10,000 they want to give us, and then they want to keep 99% of everything for the next 10 years. How are we going to live,
That sounds like prison.
Yeah. And once we started thinking about it, and I kind of just realized what we were kind of looking at, I realized, shit, hey, that's Ginny from Steve and Ginny Jackson right there.
Oh, look at that. Always good to see your roster show up for your stuff.
Hey, they're showing up.
Deeply,
so yeah, I guess once I kind of realized what the landscape was looking like for bands of our level, getting deals and not really ever being able to live off of music, I was like, you know what, I'm going to just start my own label and I'm going to learn how to do this. So I moved to New York. I went to NYU. I did their graduate program for music business for 2 years. I worked as a freelance recording engineer. And that's kind of where I got my bearings on the live music industry, and then learning how to record and put out bands. And then during that time, I was also still playing in Plastic Revolution. I was flying back for tours. And at the end of school, I just decided, hey, I'll move back to San Diego and set up shop over there. And that's kind of how it happened.
Awesome. And would you say that now with that, you kind of get to live the best of both worlds? You still get to very much do the live thing whenever you want from the sounds of it. But also you get to do, I guess, in a way, the good Lord's work in getting people their fair pay for what they earned in terms of being artists.
Yeah, I mean, I do my best. The landscape of musicians being able to live solely off their music it's a tough one, and
oh, yeah.
A lot of my artists are really fortunate, but a lot, it's no secret, a lot of them do the bar circuit, and they play a lot of covers, and that's like 5 days a week they're playing those shows, and then 2 days a week they're doing original shows, or if they're touring, they're doing a hybrid. And that's definitely been something that I can offer them, is like, hey, I know how you can make extra money, or I know how you can kind of sell yourself and ride both of those lines. And I think maybe before, back in like the traditional punk days of when like Fat Wreck and labels like that were just taking off, it was looked down upon to do covers or to play any kind of cover gig, or that was selling out. You were a sellout if you were a pub band. But now I think everyone realizes musicians got to eat, and they gotta survive, man. So yeah,
100%. We actually one of our more reputable exports in Montreal, which I will remain unnamed for fear of getting them in kind of trouble with their label, do the cover thing, like for the rest of the year round, that they're not opening for massive bands at massive venues. These are like friends of ours. We see them doing covers in bars under a different name so that they don't get flack for doing what they're doing. Do you feel like with the climate of today that that's more detrimental to a band's image, or is that something that you actually feel like is good for them in a way?
I mean, it just depends. For the folk punk, Irish punk scene, it's not really a bad thing at all. Like Steve and Ginny Jackson, when they first reached out to me, they sent me some of their originals, and then I saw a cover of Flogging Molly tune they did, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to put them at the Field Irish Pub downtown where I do booking.
There you go.
That might not have been the first tour. The first tour was probably O'Sullivan's Pub, and we got drunk outside of there and then decided to do their record, which is a good story, by the way. And
I would be happy to hear it. Anything involving alcoholism makes my little heart warm, which is probably not healthy.
Hey, that's beautiful. So yeah, I mean, I basically they cold emailed me, and just as a booker, I was like, hey, I fucking like this band. I'm gonna put them in a couple of shows, and I think they were definitely more of an original act when I first met them, and they weren't necessarily trying to play pub gigs or do more covers. But then once we started talking, and I'm like, hey, if you guys can can add some of this stuff, you know, you're going to make guarantees every day of the week, and maybe Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, as opposed to just playing door deal kind of shit where you're getting taken advantage of and you don't necessarily have a draw in Los Angeles or in California. It's your first time here. So, yeah, I had stuck them at O'Sullivan's Pub. They opened up for Kel Bordell. And I remember afterwards we were swigging, it's like this bottle of, I think it was rum, just like real gnarly Canadian rum in a big plastic bottle. And we went through most, you know, what do you guys got going on the next couple days? And they were like, oh, we're supposed to be, I think, in LA or somewhere the next day. And I'm like, well, I can't record you tomorrow, but if you want to stay in town like 2 days, we could do a record together at my house, and I'll put it out on my label and we can see what happens. And they were like, oh, fuck it, we'll cancel the show. And we'll
That is the easiest record deal signing I think I've ever fucking heard of, and is a phenomenal segue. Although I would love to ask what the rum was that you were drinking.
That's be able to tell us. I have no idea.
That's usually how any kind of Canadian rum works out. Also, not healthy for you. Don't drink and drive, kids. I do gotta ask. This was, funny enough, one of my questions, so it's a great segue here. What is, like, try to give me a little bit of the process in what it's like deciding on who to add to the roster, and, you know, being a very self-run business yourself. What's the process of getting that kind of stuff done? So how do you decide, and what's the whole front to back feel like?
Each band is really its own story. BJ Jesbera, who he's the guy who just did the Canciones con Queso record that we just put out. He's one of my longest running artists. Actually, he is my longest running artist for sure. I picked him up just because I was working with another label, helping them kind of develop their business side while I was at grad school. I was helping them write contracts and sign bands. And me and him became really close. And then throughout that process, he was just like, hey, I don't really want to be with this label anymore. Can I sign to MVR? And we had a funny little moment at like his 21st birthday party. And he's saying that in front of our other buddy who was running the other label. And I'm like, PJ, we'll talk about this later. And, but I mean, we're all still friends and it's fine. And yeah, he kind of jumped ship, and from there we, you know, it's, the rest is history. I've put out a couple of full lengths with him. The Canciones con Queso is a really fun screech rum. Maybe Melanie's a drinker, I think.
So that's actually, screech is very specifically from Newfoundland. You usually can't get it in other places in Canada, depending on where you are and who does imports, or if a Newfie moved out of Newfoundland to start a liquor store somewhere else. Like, that's kind of the only way you can find that stuff, but entirely possible. That stuff screech will make you go blind. It's awesome. I love it.
Jacques says Sailor Jerry. It was not Sailor Jerry. It was not that good. It was plastic bottle rum. We may never know.
Both of those rums are also not Canadian, but nonetheless, I will, maybe one day I'll get to interview this act myself, and we'll go from there. But that's awesome. So it's to say that a lot of these acts that you sign are just very much personal interactions of yours, and it's kind of like part of the story of the label itself. You meet these people, you decide, fuck it, jump on board, or spite one of my friends, or whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. You know, BJ was a friend of a friend. That situation. Band Apart was a French band that I met on tour with Plastic Revolution, and I felt they actually really sold me on French folk music and just the genre in general. I was really a pop punk kid, you know, growing up in Southern California, loving No Effect, Rancid, Propagandhi, Strung Out. That was like that was it, you know. And once we toured Europe and I kind of found that French folk scene, I saw just like the power of Europeans and everyone just dancing around and having such a good time. And it was less like a scene and less like a mosh pit and you have to fucking be a tough guy. It was more like everyone loves each other and this is like amazing music community. And then, you know, I brought band apart over to the US a couple of times, and I just realized, like, shit, not a lot of people are doing that. Definitely there's no labels that I know of in Southern California that are signing French bands or French speaking bands and trying to make that a thing. And then I kind of pivoted and I was like, you know what? I'm no longer a pop punk kid. I'm like a folk punk kid, and I
Yeah.
want to sign bands and do stuff like that maybe wouldn't necessarily get a chance. I mean, I've never really run the label as like a real good business guy. I sign bands that I love and that I want their music out and I want to work with them. It's not necessarily like I'm going to make a fucking $1 trillion with them.
But that's inspirational at the same time, especially in such an industry that's being eaten alive by people that are really in it for the money and that are really in it for the aesthetic and less what the culture is and less what the message is and less what the emotion that it promotes is. So what you're really doing is honestly fantastic shit. And please don't ever fucking stop, because it's so rare that you find people like that these days that are like, I just want everybody to be able to do this forever. I want art in the world, especially art that I like. Not a lot of people look at it in the way that you necessarily looked at it. So it's awesome, man. Honestly.
Oh, well, thank you, Jason. And John, shit, Kingman, Arizona. It's been a minute since we've been out there for sure.
Whew. Such new places that we all need to go and explore. You're adding names to the travel list here. I do gotta ask. These are we do try to keep the COVID talk to an absolute fucking minimal, but it is everything that we're all living right now. It like the world's on fucking fire. So I do gotta ask, how has the label been either coping or benefiting from the events of right now? Are you like, how could you sum it up, your experience with COVID and being a label owner?
I mean, we're really lucky just because, I had the opportunity to kind of take a break from the live music business. And, when I'm buying for 6 venues and the festivals and doing that, I'm getting 200 emails a day. And I don't really have time to give the label the attention that it deserves. And this last year, I was able to sign 3 new bands, which is more than I usually would do in a year. It's usually like maybe 1 or 2 a year. And then we had more releases than usual. We got to work with Melanie Kay, and she's been amazing. And so, obviously there's a lot of horrible shit going on. A lot of people are having tough times. I mean, a lot of my musicians have gotten COVID, or Steve and Ginny were on tour in Southern California when it all happened.
Yeah.
And they they were supposed to play the SeaWorld Seven Seas Festival. They had a bunch of dates, and we started hearing about this COVID thing, and we're like, oh, maybe some of the dates are going to be canceled, but it'll be over in a week. It'll be cool. And then as things really started to get serious, and they were getting calls from their friends and family from Canada being like, you guys need to come back, and they had, they were one of the ones that got hit the worst in terms of just my roster, because they had just gotten out here. They were staring down the barrel of an amazing tour, and they just had to pick up and go back. And all of my acts had something going on for the summer. Everyone had to cancel tours. So, the artists have been definitely affected. Most of my bands make all their money on gigs,
Yeah.
The royalty deals are really generous. Like I never take more than 50% of any release, even if I'm fronting the bulk of any money or anything like that. But, just the landscape of what people are making on streaming and Spotify and shit like that, it's not what it used to be. So
Yeah.
I find that most of my bands make their money on live stuff, or actually selling physical product to people in their hands. And so, that's on the other side. On the one side, yeah, I've been able to work and do some more promotion and help bands on that side, but I haven't been able to help them get shows and actual money. So it's a trade-off for sure.
For sure. For sure. It's one of those closes the door, opens a window sort of situations. And, yet again, to your credit, going the route of, even if you're fronting all of the logistical cash, only taking 50% so that everybody survives. That's like, it's such a credit union way to do things, and I fucking love it. So that's out into the world now. I mean, with that being said, picking up 3 new acts, everything like that. Do you have any releases, or do you have any plans that you want to take the opportunity to promote right now, or anything that you're particularly really, really fucking stoked for that's coming out of Mannequin Vanity Records?
Yeah, I mean, just 10 days ago we released that BJ Jasbera Canciones
Wow.
con Queso album, and it's really, it took us 4 years to make, just because it was basically a joke, like most of the best things in life. And you know, BJ, he grew up in Chula Vista, which is basically you can walk to Mexico from there, and he's a border kid, you know, and he's grown up listening to mariachi music. Obviously, he loves pop punk, and he, you know, he describes himself as like a cross between Blink 182 and Johnny Cash. But
Okay.
we were jamming 4 years ago and just kind of fucking around and making joke songs, and he came up with a couple of mariachi riffs, and then we started just like, you know, vibing off of it. We have one song that's basic. It's called Best Amigos, and it's us making fun of each other and making fun of each other playing at bars and being like the, you know, the sellout kind of bar musician waiting for your friends to pick up chicks and singing that next Johnny Cash cover to, you know, get the $20 tip that you're going to need to pay your gas home.
Fuck yeah.
And then we just kind of were like, you know what, let's make a little mariachi EP. So it's basically a mariachi punk EP. We've got we it started as just me and BJ doing acoustic stuff, and then it evolved into, we enlisted a bunch of the musicians on the label. We got Nico Lazare from Band Apart. He plays accordion on there. We got Tyler from the Clint Westwood band. He's playing trumpet. Nick Sitar from Kel Bordell is playing drums on it. And we had it mixed and mastered by TJ Rivera, and he does a whole bunch of amazing stuff. He works more recently, he's doing a lot of stuff for Tim Armstrong and Rancid and Interrupters and things like that. So he's, I mean, he's amazing, and just really took the little turd that we gave him and polished it into a nice.
I mean, it's always a process, and it's always absolutely inspiring to see, especially what seems to be so very unique to punk and its affiliates, how someone's surroundings can very much influence what comes out of their music, and for somebody that lived right on the border like that to end up making something very heavily infused mariachi music, it's fucking awesome, man. Who the fuck would have thought of that, other than where the fuck he was living in him in that moment? You know, it's such a unique little thing that it's very difficult to find.
Yeah, and he's, you know, he's one of my favorites. I just love him. He's got a great energy. He's a funny kid, and to put his spin on like a mariachi punk album it's been great, you know. And I think anyone, if you like Mariachi El Bronx, or if you like really, if you like any kind of pop punk, you're probably gonna like it, you know. I think, you know.
Hey, why the fuck not? Or even if you know, even if it's up in the air, go and give it a listen. Always expand your horizons, man.
That's right.
All right, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We've gone through all the super serious stuff, and I am going to put you through a little thing I like to call Battle of the Blank. Everybody I interview, I make them pit a fictional fight to the death. Depending on who it is, I always try to buck around and switch up who the participants would be. And in this particular case, I saw it as an awesome opportunity to promote your roster a little bit. So we are going to take acts that you have signed to Mannequin Vanity Records. I knew I was going to fuck that up at least second time.
Right.
And I have just randomized a bunch, and you're going to tell me who of the two that I'm going to name would win in a fight to the death.
Like a fist fight.
Or like just fucking who's going to die.
Is it gladiator style? Or are we giving them weapons?
Full on gladiator style. And you're doing the thumbs up with the thumbs down, bro. So like, all right. Since you know we brought up BJ so many times, who do you think would win in a fight to the death between Clint Westwood or BJ Jasbera?
Oh, I'd hate to say it, but Clint would beat the shit out of BJ. He's a tough guy, you know. He's.
I should probably also mention I'm expecting you to have like a lot of angry emails tomorrow.
Tomorrow, BJ's gonna be like, I would totally kick Clint Westwood's ass.
You're gonna make it happen. You're gonna put it on pay-per-view.
Clint's a burly man, you know. Yeah, no.
There's no chance of that
one. I think.
For this one, I just thought it up on the fly because fuck it, we talked about it a couple of times. Who would win in a fight to the death between Steve or Ginny Jackson?
Whoa,
yeah,
great question. I think Ginny. Ginny's got. she's got the anger, she's got the and the passion, you know. I think Steve's too nice. I think Ginny, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but
what was once a 10 artist label is about to lose some names, and I love
I know
it.
you're fucking me up here, Jason.
This is all out of love and entertainment, everybody. I promise. There's nothing sinister about this in the slightest. For our last one, we already know what they would sound like in a supergroup, but I wonder what they would look like in a fight to the death. Who do you think would win between Bandapa or Quel Bordel?
Oh, Kel Bordel, because we're ready for the apocalypse. It's and apart, you know, they're lovers, they're Frenchmen. They don't fight. They love, but it's and Kel Bordel, you know, I got the Filipino brothers, Alan and Aaron. They're practicing karate on tour. They're literally training for the apocalypse.
Heck yes.
Ginny, you're so right. I would be afraid you'd kick my ass if I chose Steve. But yeah, Kel Bordel, because and you know, we're Americans, so we're armed, and we're you can't do that in France.
No.
But you know,
at that.
When the two bands tour together, there's definitely there's always prank wars, and
ooh, I need to hear about this.
And the French are very good at pranking. I will give them that. They probably win on that frontier. Which you know, one year they got a blow up pool that they stuck at my house, and they were I used to live above a coffee shop, and they would they blew up this pool, and you have to walk, like, you can walk by my apartment door in order to get to the upstairs of the coffee shop. So, you know, people would be walking by, and there's these French kids out there like showering in the pool in the morning, and and then after that they bought fish for every member of the band, goldfish, and then as the tour went on, certain fish were dying, and so they would have funerals for the band member, and everyone and every fish was named after a band member in Kel Bordel. So they would have, you know, these ceremonial goodbyes, and Nick, the drummer fish, was the last one to survive, and when he died, it was the end of the tour. Everyone was very sad.
Aww. I mean, fish on tour is just a terrible idea to begin with, so this had an end.
Oh yeah, and you know, there was also La Pulpa, which is the octopus, or the French word for octopus, and that was a game we used to play where you just walk up to each other, obviously pre-COVID, and you just stick your hand on each other's face and you go, La Pulpa, you know, and and that turned into, you know, the best pulpa of the tour was Eric, the guitarist of Band Apart, took Batiste's underwear that was hang drying outside of the house after a pool or whatever, and smashed it on his face and was like, La Pulpa, you know?
It's clean, I swear.
Yeah, that's a small sampling of the pranking that goes on, but
if that prank didn't end with said member then had pink eye for the next week, it didn't end the way that it was supposed to. So that is the bulk of it. Everybody that's in the chat, once again, thank you so much for your patience. We are going to be screening your questions any second now. I do have one last little thing that we here at Bucketlist Music Reviews put everybody through every time they have to sit across one of us. And that is very simply the cheesiest pop we can do. What, for you, Jake Skolnick, is left on your bucket list? What would you still like to accomplish with your career, with your life, or with your label, or with your music? What is the biggest thing that you want to tell the world that you got to do?
Fuck, that's a good question, man. That's
You heard it here, Lizard.
I should have been prepared for that one. You know, a lot of times I think like, oh, you know, what's the next big thing? I'm really fortunate to live off of music and to hang with my best friends all the time, and to, you know, call it work that I get to call all these bands on my roster and discuss what do you guys want to do this year? What do you want to put out? How can I help? You know, I've been fortunate to tour Europe several times. I toured Canada last year with Steve and Ginny, and that was definitely a huge bucket list item. I guess my main thing would just be to get out and do it more, and get get more of the bands going international. That's kind of the dream of mine, is to have everyone be able to benefit from everyone's connections. And I have this new band, Barbaro Rum. They're a French pirate punk band. I think they're just fucking amazing, and they would be great in the U.S. They would just kill it at Renaissance fairs or anything like that. I'd love to get them to Canada too. I've got another band, the late great Charlie Borski, who we just signed, and they're like theatrical folk pop from LA, and they're wonderful. And I'd love to get them. I'd love to get them out of the U.S. and have them kind of do that. And similarly, I've done a couple of collaborations. I just collaborated with this guy Oscar Marino in Colombia, and he's a fantastic trumpet player. I just met him on Instagram. We were just messaging back and forth, and I'm like, hey, you want to do a song together? And he's like, yeah. So we're going to be dropping that probably this Friday. We're waiting for the election nonsense to calm down so people can be inundated with fresh new things. But I'd love to get him to the US, and that's basically my bucket list, is to continue everything and just get everyone international.
Hey man, every day is a good day to die, and if you're happy just doing what you're doing, then what more could you ask for?
Amen.
Amen. And also, very beautiful strategy in waiting for the election stuff to die down. I got to give you that, because can anything top that right now? The answer is no. I thank you very much for putting up with all of my questions and for making it this far. I can safely say this is day, I think, 320 something without a rage quit during an interview. So I'm proud of that. For everybody else that has also stuck through in the chat, this is your chance. We're going to start screening some questions. We've already got one here. Please get creative about it. Please get embarrassing about it. Let's all have a good laugh. Chris Akins, actually a member of the Bucketlist team, asked, do you labels accept demos anymore?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely, I don't run the social media as much as I should. I have a guy, Dustin, who does it, but he forwards me every new band inquiry. And then sometimes I'm going through, like, whenever anyone sends us a link, I listen to it. And I grew up in that era when that was like the most important thing. Like, I hand wrote when I was like, 10, 11 years old, all my favorite pop punk bands, and was just like, I love your band, send me some free stickers. And the ones that did, like, I got a letter back from Less Than Jake like 2 years later where Chris had signed just, like, hey, we promised we would write everyone back with a handwritten thing, so here you go. But I was like, that's it, they're my favorite band forever, So I definitely want to carry that forward, and I try to listen to everything, and I personally will get on there and then write them back. And even if I don't like it, hey, I dig it, and not really the right fit for the label, or shit, I don't like it, but good luck,
You are now 1,000% going to get a compilation of all the pop punk covers I am doing personally with my shitty cover band. Congratulations.
I want to hear it. Absolutely.
That's not going to happen. I wouldn't suffer anyone through that. So our very own mighty queen herself, the proprietor of everything we know as Bucketlist Music Reviews, Liz Imperiale, asks, what shows have you been binging during COVID?
Oh, we just watched that Night Stalker show. I told you I had a little too much to drink last night, so I was sitting on the couch most of today, and it was Night Stalker the whole day. And then that
is a hungover show.
You guys remember this? It was.
That is 1,000% a hungover show. So Liz and I actually just binged that over the weekend. I was not hungover. I feel like I did it a disservice.
You did. You definitely did.
Yeah, I definitely did. But we did eat a ton of greasy food anyway, because, we're from Montreal, and that's everything that we have.
And that poutine.
Yes, sweet, glorious poutine.
Delicious.
I was actually going to say, Barbaro rum would probably be eaten alive in Montreal. That is very much something our interesting crowd would devour. I can promise you that.
Oh yeah.
So, anything else that you've been recently sucking back to satiate the pain that is COVID?
Me and my fiance, we love SVU. We watch a lot of Law and Order. SVU. We've probably gone through the whole, 19 seasons twice over just over the break. I mean, when we first got together, we used to watch it too. But we've had the chance to go back and relive all of the SVU. And yeah, I guess you're noticing a weird weird theme with sexual deviant shows and
Whatever floats your boat, brother. I'm into it. I have had a ton of conversations with a lot of people, both just personally and even through this, that COVID for us music people, as detrimental as it is to our lifestyles and everything, is also in a very sick and weird way the vacation we were never going to get. You
oh,
know,
100%.
it was a break from all of this that we all kind of needed, but we're just like, okay, let's keep going. You know, promoters like yourself, touring musicians that getting to spend time with their families. So like there is a little bit of blessing in disguise, even though holy fuck, the world is still on fire. We do have a slightly less appropriate question here that I'm sure you're going to be happy to answer. Ginny wonders, can you explain what docking is? You're on the spot here, Jakey.
Okay, Jenny. Well, I found out about this from her friend Alex in Quebec. Where the fuck were we?
Of course, we found out about it from a Quebecer. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, because he was coming up to us, and we're exchanging cultural information. He's doing his Deberneck thing, and he's like, "Would you like to do docking with me?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, uncircumcised penis on top of other penis, and So if you don't know what that is, it's one uncircumcised penis and a normal penis, and
one goes inside the other, and it does absolutely nothing.
They roll around together. It's supposed to be good. I did not take him up on his offer.
I feel like you missed out.
How good it is or not.
That was a cultural experience you passed up there, Jake. I got shame on you.
That was
for such a well-cultured man. I'm going to happily throw up after this. So cousin Ryan asked from Harley, have you learned any new Harry Styles covers?
That is a great question. And I hope Harley didn't hear me describe what docking was. No, but I will tell Harley we can do Watermelon Sugar together the next time that we hang out. Harley is definitely the next rock star in the family. She's we did a little jam last time she was in San Diego, and she set up the mic stand and was rocking Harry Styles, and I had the joy of being her accompanist. So yeah, that's an open invitation, Ryan. I'll do that anytime for sure.
Hell yeah. Now that I know that someone that's potentially underage watching, I'll try to clean up my conversation a little bit. I feel horrible now. We probably have time for one more question, and then we are going to shamelessly self-promote each other as we music people have to do to survive and put food on the table.
Yes, sir.
So if anybody else has a question, I'll actually go ahead and start shamelessly promoting everything that we here at Bucketlist Music Reviews are going to be doing. And we can take one more before Jake tells us everything that's coming up for him in his wonderful life, which sounded more sarcastic than it should have been. All right, just in time. Once again, another one from Chris Akins. What are your views on streaming platforms, i.e. Spotify versus Bandcamp?
I mean, I think they all have a good purpose. You got to be on it. My label's not big enough to say, we're not going to put shit on streaming services. That's quite the opposite. I encourage my artists to be everywhere, be on all the free stuff, be on all the paid stuff. I think people who want to support the bands and people who want to buy stuff will, and people who don't maybe will hear it on the things that are free. And really, as most of my acts, it's up and coming acts. We do a lot of talent development, and I try to get them to the next level. So I don't tell them to ever try to limit themselves. And even if they're like, well, if I put it all on these free sites, we're not gonna make any money. And I'm like, yeah, but maybe we'll make some more fans, and maybe one day you guys will give me a job. So
it's all a process, man. And you got in my humble opinion, you absolutely have the right idea about it. Be out there, get the world to hear your art, and go from there, man.
Well, thank you, brother.
So that is on that loving note. We will avoid any images of us trying to make out. We are through all of our questions for tonight. I want to once again thank everybody for coming and checking it out. If you want to watch this interview again or share it with your friends, as you absolutely should, and I implore you to do so, you can watch it again, not only on our Facebook at bucketlistmusicreviews.com, which is where you, well, no, that's the website. I know things. I did say I was terrible at my job. Bucketlist Music Reviews on Facebook. You can check out all of our written content at bucketlistmusicreviews.com, which we have new content coming out every day, be it an album review or a bipolar review or a rant or a review mirror where we check out a 90s review and all kinds of fun stuff coming in the future. If you, once again, I almost forgot the YouTube page. Check us out on Bucketlist TV on YouTube. Check us out at Instagram at BucketlistMR and on Twitter at BucketlistMR for all of the updates about our stuff. We are going to be back doing another Q&A Tuesday next week, in which Liz is going to be interviewing members of 311, which is guaranteed to not only be chill, but fucking awesome. So please tune in. Jakey boy, do you have anything else you want to plug before we go?
I mean, a lot of my artists are working on good material. Steve and Ginny have an amazing record in the works. BJ's record just came out. Late great Charlie Borski just dropped the single "Let's Hit the Road." They've got another single called "Champagne" coming out next month. Shit, you know, usual stuff. Follow the label at Mannequin Vanity Records. If you can't spell that, then you're probably out of luck. But
I should ask, where did the name come from?
Well, it used to be called Plastic Records originally for Plastic Revolution. I created the label to put out Plastic Revolution stuff. And when I moved to New York and I was trying to register it with the county clerk's office, the lady kind of looked at me and it's like, you know, we already have like 10 Plastic Records in New York. Why don't you come up with something that's a little more original? And my Southern California freezing ass in the middle of winter was huddled outside of the thing trying to be creative and think of something. And I'm like, what am I going to commit to for the next, 20 years of my life? And somehow Mannequin Vanity Records got into my head and I thought that was it. And it was intentionally difficult to spell and to say. And that's neither here nor there. I figured, the stuff I put out was going to be for people to enjoy. So if you're a fan of the label, you learn how to spell Mannequin. If you're not, you probably won't. But
I feel like that's very pop punk of you to come up with something that's particularly like fuck with people to say or to write or to like follow just because fuck it and fuck everyone. I still shouldn't be swearing this much. There's a child watching. I'm a horrible person.
No, she's not. We got off. We're okay.
Fantastic. But that's awesome. I'm glad I still managed to slip in that story. Once again, thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. For everybody else that came and watched, we deeply appreciate you even more. Thanks again. Tune in next week. We love you. Be well. Stay safe.
Thank you, Jason.
Throwing things at people. Good night.